good hire on paper. And it was a positive. This was going to be the main thing we were going to talk about this week because it was a massive positive for the league. A nice step for their for at least their personnel department.
And for what I understand, I don't know, maybe I'm out of line here. We may have some bonus content this weekend. Is that still a thing?
That is on. I am going to be doing that for this weekend. I will be interviewing TSN's very own Dave Naylor. He's the CFL's insider. We're going to be talking about Jim Popp. I want to get a little bit of the lowdown, kind of his legacy in the CFL and what his thoughts, at least maybe for his perspective and kind of voice of the community's thoughts are with this hire, and maybe even just the USFL in relation to the CFL. Because again, it fits in that vein of leagues that are kind of competing for that like spring summer scene anyway. So I know there's two different countries that are competing, but there are American audiences that watch the CFL, and it's definitely a piece of it that you can tell. So we're going to be talking a lot about that, and just like I said, Jim Popp, how this puzzle fits, and why he makes a good fit, or why not. We'll see what Dave thinks, but for the most part, it sounds like he does. Should be a good time. I've talked with Dave in the past on Gridiron Gallery. He's a great conversationalist, so I'm going to have a good time with him coming up here.
Yeah, so definitely, guys, make sure you tune in. This will be on the USFL podcast YouTube. I'll probably put it on the audio podcast as well. I don't see why not. So that should be coming sometime this weekend. I don't know. I got to figure that out. Saturday or Sunday, one of those days. Papa needs a break. So I know you're doing, you're doing all the heavy lifting. You're doing the interview.
Who are you kidding? You do plenty of stuff here, man. You're getting things out all the time. Don't knock yourself down a peg. It's going to be a good one though. We'll get it out there. But I mean, if you haven't listened to Dave before, Dave's a great talking point person. And like I said, dude's seen it all. He's been ingrained with the CFL pretty much his entire life. So you won't want to miss it. Great TSN personality.
Should be must watch YouTube / listening on podcast TV / radio, however that works.
Oh yeah.
All right. Now, once I start rambling like that, it's time for a new topic. So again, good news, fun news. We knew that NBC had signed a deal with the USFL. That came out, I think, last month officially. We first heard about it in October when they started working with the representatives in Birmingham. Now it's official with the NFL playoffs here. People were hoping, would we see any promos from the USFL on NBC? I mean, quite honestly, it's been over a month now that Fox has been airing USFL promos every game, every NFL game that Fox airs, they're airing a promo. So going into this playoffs, especially because we had 2 new promos last week for the final week of the NFL regular season.
Yeah,
the speculation started. Would we get some promos? Sort of. I mean, sort of.
A little bit.
Kind of.
A little bit.
I mean, shout out to Seth Lessons again. Our spring football community, are they not the best? Dude, I mean, the eagle eyes
so
out
many good
there.
People.
This dude's watching soccer, and boom, there it is, right in the lower right of the screen. USFL coming April 2022. Wasn't a big old thing. It was just on the bottom on the chyron, lower right. Now, again, that was prior to when the NFL playoffs took place. Later in the afternoon, though, when they had the pregame, it was still there. So, not a huge promo, but a promo nonetheless. Thoughts?
It's visible. That's a start. And you have to go somewhere. So I think it did sneak up on some people. It's not massive. I'm not gonna go overboard with it and be like, oh my God, this
right.
No, because it's not a promo. And it's not showing off like what NBC is wanting to do with the theming of the USFL in its own right. But you can tell they are going to put a focus at least on trying to promote it in some way. And it makes me think there's got to be something coming out now. If it, like we were speculating last week in the speculation zone-ish area about it, when it would come out. Now I'm more leaning on like, well, if they got it on the chyron and it's playoff season in the NFL, again, they host the Super Bowl this year. I mean, it's even, to me, it's seeming like the steps are there that they will have a produced piece maybe this weekend, if not at least by Super Bowl Sunday in early-ish February when that goes on. I mean, they're starting to advertise it now. That chyron does stay up, and it's a visual piece on your display. So you are recognizing it if you are watching that broadcast, especially the pregame, that was going to be for the Bengals and Raiders,
Yeah.
or Raiders Bengals, getting the right home set. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Now, one thing
You know what I'm saying?
that is interesting though, it did disappear during halftime. It was in both of the pre-games, but it wasn't in either of the halftimes, which strange.
A test? Question mark?
Right. Now, that being said, whatever. I'm just glad to see something. I'm sticking with bare minimum. We're seeing at minimum a mention of the USFL, probably at bare minimum a 10-second spot. But I mean, it feels like that's the time to drop the 30-second one. But that's expensive, and I get why you wouldn't. But I would settle for a couple things. One, 10-second promo like we got on, like we're getting on Fox. And similar to the AAF, I believe they added them to the chyron and verbally brought them up during the broadcast and said, by the way, the AAF is kicking off. If they do those two things, I'll be fine without a 30-second promo. I think the online community would love to see a 30-second promo. I get why we wouldn't see it in the Super Bowl because, I mean, that's a lot of money that NBC, quite honestly, is leaving on the table by just promoting one of their own products.
Well, yeah. I mean, we're not like NBC alone, they get the Super Bowl that is, Fox, we're still going to be sitting here too. They host the NFC Championship game, which is also one of the most watched events of the year when it goes on. And that's a chance for them to launch maybe even a potential 30-second drop if they wanted there as well. So we have to wait and see if they'll add more production to that or just new 10-second ones, which have been doing decent amount of coverage and bounce, if you will, on exposure when they drop them on social. So, I mean, if it works, fine, go with that. But I mean, you want to see something that like maybe it's a narration, like a little explanation of like, hey, it's an old, like, I know some people will get on me for this, like, it's not the same thing, but it's like, they are leaning nostalgia in a way. So it's like, it's an old favorite coming back. Right. Like I could see something like that coming up. You'll have people that are some of the OGs losing their minds, but being frank, they'd do it.
Yeah.
Right. There's enough goodwill where people are like, yes, my favorite league's back. Right. Like that's what I'd be seeing happen there.
I don't see Fox going that route though. It really feels because I mean, if you look at every one of their press releases that they put out, they always specify that this is not the same USFL from the 80s. That's
true.
And so, although I agree with you, give us one of like a throwback. Maybe we'll get that when the games kick off. I don't know, but I could easily see them not. They definitely, it seems like they want to conveniently distance themselves from the past while keeping the positives.
Yeah, well, can we get more Doug Flutie?
Right.
I mean, I think it's reasonable to say that Flutie's going to be on those broadcasts anyway. He already does Notre Dame games for NBC, so can we get more Doug Flutie?
And maybe NBC, maybe they'll be the ones to play that card and not Fox specifically. So
maybe you're right.
Maybe that's the play.
That contract and all that, he's already there.
I like it. So again, we're a little bit outside the speculation zone for this, but I think we're in safe distance. But
we have just enough of a hook back in reality.
Yeah. So promos on NBC, things are looking good. Things are looking on the up and up. We hopefully have some things to look forward to as we get closer to the Super Bowl.